going to get into some stuff in a second, but I did want to pose a quick question if anybody cares to give us some feedback on this. And I'm also curious to see what you think. Because whenever I was listening back to our last, or at least thinking about it, our last Dating is Dead segment, I was kind of concerned that the segment might just be either becoming or already is just like making fun of women. So I was wondering if maybe a potential solution would be if I opened up my profile to like, you know, be like sort of all include like all the genders, you know.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
I think that's a great idea.
Think so? Okay.
Yeah.
Because like the way I was using it was that like, well, of course, like some of the older stuff that I had saved was just stuff that I found, you know, just trying to use the app.
Right.
But then like if I'm going in and like trying to look for weird stuff, it's like, well, then I'm just kind of looking for women to make fun of or something. Like, you know, like it just kind of feels bad.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it comes across that way, but I do think it's a good idea to open it up more.
Okay. Yeah. Because yeah, like obviously my profile from whenever I was like using it to try to use it, it would be configured just, you know, for women because that's what I would be looking for. So
yeah, and you're not even using it for that purpose at this point.
No, not really. So yeah, the funny thing is that I guess they've like sort of fixed their, maybe it was like bugs or whatever, but like on OkCupid, a lot of the time it would just kind of show dudes, and like this is like not even me making assumptions. Like if you look at their profile, it would just be like, oh yeah, male, and then it would even say like, the profile will say like, oh, what are you looking for, and it'll be like, oh, they're looking for women. So you're showing two dudes that are looking for women, each other, like.
Yeah, that's a bit wonky on the part of the algorithm, I guess.
Yeah, it would happen so frequently, and this was like a couple of years ago. So I guess it was glitched, or I don't know, trying to tell me something. I don't know, but
yeah.
So yeah, but that like, as I've been using it lately, that hasn't come up. So yeah, so that's just something I was kind of thinking about for the future.
Yeah, open that shit up.
Yeah. To sort of make it seem like I'm not just picking on women.
And I'm not qualified to critique any sort of dating profile, but if there was a dating profile that I'm qualified to critique, it would be probably of the male variety, you know?
Right.
So that makes sense too from that aspect. Yeah,
because it's like that's why I opened it up by like also sharing mine to sort of make it seem like, you know, who the fuck am I? And because it's like at the end of the day, like it is just people putting themselves out there. As strange as a lot of the stuff is, it's, you know, it's people trying.
Totally.
So that's just something I've been kind of thinking of. And if people have some feedback on that, I would really love to hear it and appreciate it.
If you think we are problematic, please let us know.
Yes. That's really the main thing. Speaking of problematic content, do we want to get into this week's horror harvest?
I've been anticipating it all week long to hear your thoughts on this movie.
Yeah. So if you'd like to set this up, please.
Yeah. So our second film that we're featuring here in our horror. Oh, geez. I didn't know how difficult it would be to pronounce that. Horror harvest. Christ. Don't ask me to set this up anymore. So yeah, we are talking about Climax, the 2019 film from Gaspar. This is a horror film about a dance troupe who are rehearsing in this warehouse and have a party afterwards, and there's some sangria that there's something wrong with sangria, and things take a turn from there. So I'm very
Yeah.
curious because I've seen this movie before. You haven't, so I'm very curious what your thoughts are.
Uh, thank Christ it's only an hour and a half.
Okay, okay. Like in a good
Um,
way. Like this is such a nightmare that it's so effective and I want it to end.
I don't know if it's. Mm, hmm. In order for it to be effective, I would have to know what it's trying to do. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Uh huh.
Um, because like as I was watching it and sort of at the end, like the main thought that I kind of kept thinking of was like, is this just like a really roundabout anti-drug PSA?
No. Not even close. Not even close. I don't think it is. I don't think it
No?
is. No. Because there's plenty of drugs going around that are fine. It's just somebody spiked this sangria with something terrible. I think LSD or something, right?
Yeah. Is okay, then is it a maybe this is just where my headspace has been in the past couple of weeks, but is it a a pro-life production, you know?
Can you elaborate on that? Like how you got there?
It's sort of depicting these very I don't know, like promiscuous behaviors. You know, these are arty people, and you know they're getting involved with drugs, and like all they want to do is party, and you know, like it's like, oh, they even involved a kid in the mix, and it's like these are you know, and then there's the whole like forced abortion
Mm-hmm.
scene, which is a sentence,
Mm-hmm.
and like it makes your stomach turn, but only because of like not even necessarily the violence of it, but just like what it signifies.
Right.
Where like like this drugged out cheering dance troupe is like somehow forcing a woman to have an abortion.
Yeah. And so that leads you to think that this is some sort of like anti-abortion film.
In a very like weirdly roundabout way, maybe. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I wasn't getting that at all. Because it's yeah, I just don't think in anywhere in its messaging it's trying to come across that way. Um, like for me, what these characters are saying and doing, it's like on the one hand, it's like there's like a lot of um, like gross conversations happening, right? But
Yeah.
it's like banter that you would sort of see at like a gathering like that, but like within the context of like the movie, it all like just gives you this sort of like icky feeling, and like that's even before things really turn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just didn't see any sort of political message in this movie at all.
None.
Like I don't think its mind is on that. I really don't. I think it's the
Even
even what.
even the extended conversations about the guys are like, I hate that fucking flag. I hate that flag. Why is that there? And then the one guy draws a swastika on the other guy's forehead.
Okay, well, yeah, there's that, but I mean, like, about the abortion stuff.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
think
you just said
there's
like there was no political.
right. Yes, no, there's definitely like it's very um, pro France and sort of
Yeah.
like you know, it's pointing out certain cultural things. But yeah, like the abortion thing, that's just like, it's taking the worst thing that could possibly happen to this person in the moment, and all the things that the people around her are doing, it's just a result of like them acting under the influence of the drug, and it's like the worst thing they could possibly doing to her. So it's like all in the service of like the nightmare that's happening, and it's not like some sort of political statement. At least I didn't view it that way.
Yeah, maybe it's just where my head is at.
That's reasonable. I mean, that's because of everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, because like there's also an incest subplot.
There is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the other focus, like on the kid that's there. I don't know if mindful is the right word, but like it kept bringing up like what kind, like like what kind of environment this is, and that was even before it went poorly.
Mm-hmm. What, like the idea of like, why is this single mother having her child like around in this sort of situation, right?
Yeah.
But even there, it's like those complaints are just pretty unreasonable in the first half of the movie, because like the kid is fine and nothing would have happened. He went to bed and people were just having a good time, right? So it's like even that argument doesn't hold up until after the drug happens, and then again it's just like what is the worst thing that can happen to this woman at this time, and let's like have that happen to her, right?
Yeah. Okay, this is also a weird thing, but whenever the lights go out, and we as the audience are supposed to know that means the kid is dead.
Yeah.
But why do like some other people automatically know that?
I mean, yeah, I kind of thought that too, but I can only assume because this woman has been like hysterically going around yelling about her child and what is happening.
But it was like a moment of like they suddenly have the clarity to like.
Well, no, I think these characters know what's happening around them. They just don't give a shit because they're so far gone.
You really think that they know what is going on around them?
Yeah, because they're like actively laughing at like these horrific situations, and like somebody like writhing on the ground, and they're just kind of like standing there and they're acknowledging it, but they're laughing about it because they don't care, because they're out of their minds.
I mean, there's the woman that just stands there and pisses for like a good 3 minutes.
Yeah, sure, there is that too.
I found the framing of it really strange, and I didn't know like what sort of purpose it had. And this is sort of why I kind of got the feeling of it being like this anti-drug, sort of thing, because the beginning of the movie opens up with showcasing a taping of interview sessions with all of the dancers.
Mm-hmm.
And one, this is like a way to introduce the cast, but it's also like it's the first like 20 minutes of the movie. And they're all asked about like their experiences with drugs,
Yeah.
And some of them like, yeah, I've experimented or whatever. And some of them like, I don't get involved with that kind of thing, like stuff like that. And so it felt very much, well, one, it was setting up what's going to happen, but then I don't know, something about it just made it seem like it's setting up like this morality of it.
Yeah, see, I never thought so. I think it ends right there with setting up what's to follow. I just don't think it's trying to pass judgment on like drug use, because there's, like I was saying, there's plenty of drug use in the movie outside of the one thing that sets everybody off, right? Like I think the filmmaker is fairly progressive in a lot of ways, and I don't think it's trying to pass on a message like that. I didn't get that from it. But it's interesting. Like for me, I don't think I think what makes this movie effective and what makes the filmmaker either effective or not, depending on which of his movies you're watching, is that he has a very particular style and aesthetic, and his whole thing is like he's going to provoke the viewer in as many ways as he can. And like for this movie, I just felt like everything came together, and it was such a like vivid nightmare situation that was like it's like a choreographed nightmare. Like it's just chaos, but it's all purposeful, and it's all executed in like a very precise way. And it was amazing to watch for me. But like as far as like finding a political message or some like larger takeaway, I think the takeaway is to provoke you and to give you this 90-minute experience that's just gonna like make you very uncomfortable, you know? And I think looking at it that way, I was really, really impressed with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because there are like so many I don't know how long it was, but like the beginning of the party was like one take. And there are sequences where it is just like one long extended shots where you're most of the movie is just following one character for a while and then sort of handing it off to another, and usually that transition is like without a cut.
Yeah,
you know, which is really well done. And the thing that you notice, like, because there are sort of like two, calling them dance numbers is like feels strange in this movie.
But they are.
But there's like, I know, but because there's like the main one that opens up.
Yeah,
like the party.
It's their actual rehearsal.
And right. It's their rehearsal for whatever, performance they're gonna do, and then this party happens, and then later on, they sort of do this. I don't know how you describe it. I don't have the right kind of dance terminology, where they're just sort of like, I don't know, maybe experimenting or whatever, like in a big circle and then like they just sort of dance one by one, and they're sort of like egging each other on to,
Yeah, and the camera is directly above, looking down.
Yes, it's like a bird's eye view of this circle and them. And so, and in showcasing both of these, and they're pretty long segments, you sort of get a feel for each of the dancers' like personal style. And then whenever you see them absolutely lose their shit, you see the way that they lose their shit in their own dance style.
Definitely.
Like it's extended.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was great. And like also towards the end, when a character is just walking through like that main dance area, you'll have in the background like some of the characters just off on their own, completely out of their minds, but just still like doing these very very strange like dance moves, but like strange in that they work in the context of like the rehearsal and stuff, but when you see somebody just doing them on their own in the background, it's very creepy.
Yeah. So
it's like they use dance as like a horror element too in certain places, which is really cool.
Because there was at least two dancers that are like contortionists, basically.
Yeah.
And they could like dislocate their limbs and shit.
Yeah, it's very, very grotesque, which is, I think, what makes it work in like a horror context.
Yeah. Because like you said, you see it at both aspects. You see it in the rehearsal where it makes sense for what they're doing, because it was this highly choreographed, you know, it was like this choreographed chaos of it.
Yeah.
And then when you just see them tripping shit, like off in the corner, and a dude is like bending his arms back over his head, and it sort of looks like his head is going to pop off because it's twisted so far back. Yeah, it sets up that like dichotomy of like what they're doing to their bodies. Yeah.
So where do you land on this one? Did you like, what's your takeaway? Like, did you like it? Because I can't tell from this discussion.
I think I did.
Okay.
Like, it was easy to tell the like I had a feeling. I was like, oh, a dance troupe going insane. This is going to be like Suspiria.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I thought before going in.
Suspiria is even one of the it's one of the tapes. I don't know if you saw the
yes,
the videotapes on the side of the TV in the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning there's a VHS of Suspiria.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, all right, you know what you're doing. Well, of course he does, but I meant like you're just gonna outright say it, which is I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But then like also the use of color was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is Suspiria. Mm-hmm. Like the unnatural, like sort of obvious primary color lights that are just sort of casted onto the scenery. Mm-hmm. So like all of a sudden a hallway will just be like filtered with green light. And then whenever the power goes out, then the space is just completely drenched in red light. And so that was like similar to the coloring that you'd see in the original Suspiria,
yes.
More so than the remake.
No, the remake was like very purposely, like didn't have much of that at all.
Right, yeah. So yeah, I mean that he's taking more cues from the original than the remake, obviously.
Definitely.
Remake came out like what, a couple years before this, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been the same year, because I remember like thinking that this was like an interesting season with two horror movies about dancers coming out. So I think they came out around the same time. But yeah, no, definitely influenced by like the like 70s Italian style like horror.
Yeah. But thinking about the Suspiria remake, because the Suspiria remake focused on dance a lot more than the original did. Mm-hmm. And just seeing the sort of, that was very I don't, like I said, I don't have the right terminology for dance, but like it was like a very buttoned up sort of, almost like classical dance.
Yes.
And then whenever anything got sort of chaotic or whatever, it was like this out of the norm. It was the showcase that something was different and going wrong. Whereas here in Climax, the dancing is very chaotic, and I don't know if it's modern dance. I really don't know. Chaotic and very, very sexual. Obviously, there's like one of the dancers just like sort of just smacks her vagina a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, the dance.
And that's that was like her style.
It was, yeah. The dance from the outset sets a tone for what this movie's going to be.
Yeah.
Because like it, even though there is a very distinct shift about halfway through the movie, it still feels very much like it has a rhythm throughout the entire thing that never really stops.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it can't. Like there isn't a time for it to be dull. Like
no.
there are some moments early on in the party where like you're splitting off into individual conversations, but like you know, the music is still going and there's still this energy to the conversations, like the two dudes that kept talking about anal sex, you know, like they're jumping around, they're getting, you know, hyped up about, you know, pretty gross shit, but
Yeah.
like there's still this energy to it and they're moving between the conversations too. You're not like staying there,
Right,
you
because
know,
one character
with
will
people
be
for extended.
talking with another about a third character, and then they immediately cut to that third character talking about somebody else, and then it just
Yeah.
keeps going around and around.
Yeah. It weirded me out that the the white guy with the shaved head,
Uh-huh.
he looked like somebody we went to high school with.
Really?
Yeah.
You'll have to tell me after who that was, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
It really was freaking me out.
Yeah, that would make a bit of a weird, make for a bit of a weird experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, this is the first time I rewatched it. And after seeing it a second time, I genuinely think this is one of my favorite horror movies.
Mm.
It's really up there for me because I've just never seen anyone capture this like nightmarish feeling just like so clearly and so in such like an extended like continuous way, just holding like just like being able to grab the viewer and keep them in a place in like a state of mind and a feeling for so long.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen that in film, and I was so impressed with that.
There was this idea that like the outside world just doesn't fucking exist.
Right.
Because like a character gets thrown out of the building and then it's like they might as well be dead. Like they're just gone.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't
like,
see them
like
again until the very end when you find out, yeah, they are dead.
Yeah, it was like this irreversible act of just like throwing them out.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, because then everybody else is like, how could you banish that person? They didn't do anything. How could you do that? Well, it's like, okay, but you know, you could
just open the door.
But no, that's not an option here because this is the world and this is the world you're living in and there's no escape from it.
Yeah, and then there's like the one character that's like badgering the one girl to like, hey, let's get out of here, and she's looking at him like that's like such a crazy idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Where? Like what do you want? Where would we go? Like what are you talking about?
Yep. And then later on, he's the guy that everyone's telling to leave the room.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that that I was able to get you to see this one.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I would have convinced you otherwise if I hadn't chosen it. If I hadn't chosen it for this show.
I don't know. It takes a lot for me to actually like just bother to sit down and watch a movie. So.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just a me problem. It has nothing to do with
the quality, right?
At all. But yeah. Do we have next week's pick?
So we do. I'm a little bit hesitant about this, only because we don't have any critical reception for it yet. I was gonna go with I'm going with *Malignant*, the new James Wan.
Okay.
The new James Wan movie that is coming out. It will be out by the time this podcast is up.
Mm-hmm.
It's in theaters and on HBO Max, so you can watch it at home.
Okay.
So it's James Wan. He directed the first two Conjuring movies, which I like quite a bit. He directed Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say like Insidious was him as well.
Did he?
I think so. Actually, let me fact check that. Let me fact check that real quick. Yeah, yes, that was him. So he's got a pretty good filmography. I figure it's a fairly safe bet that we'll have stuff to talk about with his new film. Mm-hmm. It's topical, it's new, so I think we'll go that direction for next week. *Malignant*, directed by James Wan.
That sounds good. All right. So yeah, check that out next week. We'll have a discussion about that for our next horror harvest.
Okay. Yeah, see, I know where I see where you're coming from with like the abortion angle and like the drug PSA angle, but that caught me off guard
Oh yeah.
because I was
Um,
not thinking along those lines at all, really.
it was just something that stuck in my head while I was watching it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I guess maybe that's just me projecting, but
No, I
um,
mean, I think part of it too is I think I like because I kind of knew what I was getting into. It's like the first time when I was watching this movie because I knew that the type of stuff that this director is like going for in his films,
sure.
you know. So I think that probably plays into it too.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, yeah. Well, it was like, you know, as soon as the girl said she was pregnant, I was like, all right, they're gonna fucking beat the shit out of her, you know, like that. Like that was where I went immediately.
yeah.
And then of course, like, not even 45 seconds later, she's getting kicked in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, I knew that was gonna happen, but then like, I wasn't expecting the characters to all get in a circle, surround her, and say, "I'm gonna make you have an abortion" repeatedly.
Yeah.
Like, um. All right, so this is a story that I've wanted to talk about for a couple weeks now. And when I think we had to push it last time, at least, but I think it's been a couple weeks. So people might have seen this. It was like trending on Twitter, like the weekend that it happened. So ESPN broadcast a football game, a high school football game between, I guess, one of the top sort of programs in the country, like this school IMG or whatever, and they have like a bunch of top 300 prospects for college or whatever. And so they have a series, the Geico Kickoff Classic, and it's a series of 7 high school games that are gonna, like, they're all over ESPN for, they're supposed to be the country's best high school teams. And for whatever reason, this top ranked school was playing a school that nobody had ever heard of, called Bishop Sycamore. And they obviously got their ass completely beat. They won 58-0, or the opposing team.
Right.
But during the broadcast, even the announcers are saying, like, we don't even know, we couldn't find any information about this school. The roster they gave us doesn't even make sense because they had kids on the field that were wearing the same number at the same time. The roster was small enough where kids were playing both offense and defense. And so, like, you have the announcer saying, like, this is not even safe. Like, these kids were getting demolished. I think their quarterback got knocked out, like, immediately due to injury. So it was just this bizarre situation. And this is on national TV. This is on ESPN.
Right.
And so people are starting to, like, look at, like, who the hell is this school? They have, like, very basic black uniforms. And these kids are, like, a lot smaller than their opponents. And this is, like, ESPN, the broadcaster, saying that they don't have information about this school. So it's like, well, how did this happen? Like, why would you even put this game on TV? And why did this game happen in the first place?
Mm.
So it was a very bizarre situation. And ESPN was, they said a statement, like, after the game. They said, "We regret that this happened and have discussed it with Paragon, which secured the matchup and handles the majority of our high school event scheduling. They have assured us that they will take steps to prevent this kind of situation from happening moving forward." And so the other thing that came out was that this Bishop Sycamore, this game took place on a Sunday. I believe it was Sunday I'm not sure. It was Sunday the 29th. Turns out that they played a game on Friday as well.
Oh my.
And like I said, their roster was not big enough where that there were kids playing both offense and defense. And so if their game was not big enough to field both offense and defense, then the roster wasn't big enough to have like two separate teams play a game on Friday and Sunday. So these were the same kids playing a game on Friday and Sunday. So it was just like this really unsafe situation for these kids. And people looked into it. It's like, yep, Bishop Sycamore had the same starting quarterback both game. Frequently had players with the same number in the same alignments in both games. And then their coach admitted to that.
Do we know the outcome of that first game, the Friday game?
Yes, they lost 19-7.
Okay, so respectable. Not too bad.
Right. So the other thing was that Bishop Sycamore had mismatched helmets, and then not enough helmets for the entire team. So kids were sharing helmets as well, not only jerseys. And so then people found out that the previous week, Bishop Sycamore posted a GoFundMe for $20,000. And the description of that read, "We are Bishop Sycamore, a new football program getting established in Columbus, Ohio. We play a national schedule which is ranked 4th in the nation. We have gathered young men from all over the country in the pursuit of a similar goal. We currently need your assistance with helping these young men achieve their goals and inspire other young men to do the same. It takes a community to raise a child. Please be that community and help these young men. Please help us with finding team meals, travel expenses, and equipment costs."
So nowhere in that statement does it say like what school they're coming from or anything like that, which is interesting.
No. So the thing is that it's apparently true. They do have the 4th toughest schedule in the country. So for whatever reason, they're scheduling themselves against like powerhouse school programs.
Right.
And so from the footage of Friday's game, which was also recorded, they only have black jerseys. They don't have like an away jersey. Because both teams played in black. So and there's like, I see a screenshot here. You can't even see who's on what team because they're both in black jerseys with white numbers. So then ESPN claims that they told Paragon, who was like their outsourced scheduling management company, they said weeks in advance that they couldn't find anything about Bishop Sycamore. And then days before the game, Bishop Sycamore bailed on a conference call with ESPN. And then gave them a fact sheet that claimed that multiple players had D1 scholarship offers. And then ESPN said that they couldn't verify any of that information, and then they said that they were scammed.
And this is days before the game took place?
Yes. And so then this is a quote from during the broadcast, like one of the announcers. One says, "It's very clear, very, very clear that they can't match up." And the other one replies, "No, they can't match up. And you already saw Trillian Harris, their quarterback, get dinged up. And the last thing you want is to have this showcase on national TV. The point to finish here is, you look at IMG, and this is the most talented prep team in the country. Bishop Sycamore told us they had a number of Division I prospects on the roster, and to be frank, a lot of that we could not verify. They did not show up in our database, and they did not show up in the databases of other recruiting services. So, okay, that's what you're telling us. Fine, that's how we take it in. From what we've seen so far, this is not a fair fight, and there's got to be a point here where you're worried about health and safety. I already am worried about it. I think this could potentially be dangerous given the circumstances and the mismatch that we have here. And quite honestly, Bishop Sycamore doesn't have not only the frontline players, but they don't have the depth in case something were to happen to the roster, with a kid or two here throughout the remaining 2 quarters of this football game." And so a reporter afterwards said that they maybe have 30 to 35 players. And they had a bunch of injuries, which makes sense if they were playing for the second time in 3 days.
And a lot of those players are on the field for almost every down.
Right. Early on, IMG were getting clean hits on the quarterback on every play. There was clearly a player safety issue. And this is another ESPN reporter. "Sorry, they had no business being in that game today. None. I feel bad for the kids. player health and safety was at risk today. It was uncomfortable for anyone who watched. Oh, and then the other thing that happened was that since they were getting completely blown out, the refs and the opposing team, like IMG, the other school, was like, all right, let's institute a running clock as like a mercy rule so we can, like, you know, finish this.
Sure.
And the Bishop Sycamore coach said no.
Okay.
He declined that option to have a running clock.
So do we have any knowledge about any background on who this coach is?
Let's get there.
Okay.
Because so last year Bishop Sycamore went 0-6, and they lost by a total score of, to all their opponents, to 227-42. And last year they lost 56-6 to IMG. And so IMG apparently decided to schedule with them again, knowing what they were about.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a lot of the top universities will schedule like a warm-up game, essentially, almost like a preseason game for their first week against like a school from an entirely lower division.
Right. But like the thing there is that like they're at least certified, you know, and those are you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
They're still I guess NCAA, even though they'd be Division 2 or 3.
Right, that's the key distinction here, is that they are legit.
Like these are just fucking kids.
Right.
So then there's this Prep Gridiron Logistics is apparently this high school football scheduling service. And so they have a bunch of members, and their website states that they have member program seeking 2021 games, and they have a bunch. There's some in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, all over the place. And then they include Bishop Sycamore. And so then they, on Twitter, they said, I brought these teams together at the request of Paragon/ESPN. Bishop Sycamore has more than one team, is what they're claiming. Paragon then says, who was this other scheduling company, the two schools verbally agreed to play each other in May. This Prep Gridiron recommended Bishop Sycamore, but was not involved in contracting or organizing the game. And sometimes Prep Gridiron may schedule a matchup that Paragon picks up for TV. They're usually in the business of helping teams find national matchups, not actually organizing the games. So, like, everybody seems to be trying to, like, pass the buck over whose fault this is that this happened.
Yeah. Whose fault it is that children are getting, like, massacred on TV.
Yeah. Paragon stated that they never worked with Bishop Sycamore in the past, and they don't plan to in the future. The other thing is that Bishop Sycamore apparently has a lot of postgraduate players. So, kids that are actually older than high school athletes. But at the same time, they've been shorthanded, and they don't really give information about the roster to the broadcast partners. And when they do, it's literally just a sheet with names and then their numbers. And then a lot of times, the numbers don't even match up to the players. And it doesn't give any information about them. It doesn't, like, give their heights, you know, or even the position that they're supposed to be playing.
Or positions.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
They're playing offense and defense.
Which does happen at the high school level, but this is definitely not the norm here with 35 players.
No. If anything, usually high school football programs are much bigger than you like see in the NFL. The NFL like restricts roster size. In high school, I don't even think they usually do that.
Right.
Like you have backups of backups of backups, and you have like a JV team, you know, and things like that.
Yes.
So, yeah. So people found the website bishopsycamore.org, which is basically a blog. And the blog on May 21st explains how to catch a college recruiter's attention on social media. The website's About Us section is blank. The only hard proof I could find of the school's existence outside of a football team is an Ohio Independent article from last September where, even in the most favorable of light, this online-only prep school exists somewhere in between Findlay Prep and Prime Prep on the spectrum of alternative, sports-focused high schools. And then here's a quote. It seems like when you read about the school on the internet, you hear things about, well, they only just run around aimlessly and are just trying to play football. And this is from an athletic director at another school, I believe. I don't think that people understand that. A lot of these young men, they really, 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 really want to go to college. They really, 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 really want to be good fathers. The way to teach those things is through football, okay? I don't think people understand that. They get so caught up in the football aspect of it that they don't realize there's actual people who really want to do better in their life. Okay, but so then there's like all kinds of information on high school football messaging boards. And there's a bunch of accusations about the school and about this head coach, Roy Johnson. People are claiming that there's fraud and mismanagement going on and that there's probably not even classes happening. On September 25th, I guess this is from last year, the Ohio High School Athletic Association said its representatives could not verify classes were taking place. And they gave an address because they're claiming that classes were taking place at some kind of church.
Wasn't there mention that this was an online school?
Potentially, yeah. Like people aren't sure.
Right. Yeah. Nothing
so I guess
can
they're
be
just kind of assuming.
Nothing can be verified.
Yeah. If they don't have a school, then they're just like, oh, well, you must be an online school.
Right. Yeah.
But nobody's really checking. And so this is the state athletic board. They determined that football games played against COF Academy would not count for points to qualify for the state playoffs. And so Roy Johnson is a defendant in 2 cases accusing them of unpaid loans for $100,000. Multiple businesses and other private individuals are threatening lawsuits of their own against Johnson due to accusations of unpaid bills for services.
Here we go.
There's another person referenced, Jay Richardson, who currently works as an analyst for Columbus, Ohio affiliate, ABC affiliate. So yeah, they took some loans out from the bank on behalf of a church for $100,000. But they're saying that was false because it wasn't for the church. It was for this fucking football program.
Right. Like I'm thinking back to the NCAA thing. Like I'm thinking why these smaller schools choose to play like Alabama or whatever in week 1. Mm-hmm. And it's because it brings money to their school, right? So it's all about money essentially, money and like awareness,
I suppose.
And I'm assuming in this case, money is at the forefront of their motivations.
Yeah. Okay, so somebody gave a summary of like a lot of the accusations against them on one of these high school football boards. They were formed as COF, which is like a different school, a few years back, but that program collapsed under fraud and misuse of funds, including fraudulently obtaining loans and failing to pay numerous vendors and landlords. So they folded that name and called themselves Bishop Sycamore. In the 2 to 3 years that they've been Bishop Sycamore, they've used multiple fake addresses, multiple fake names, fraudulently attaching themselves to actual charitable entities without those entities' knowledge or permission, and then created a fake school name to attach themselves to, before giving that up and going back to just calling themselves Bishop Sycamore and using a fake address. There is not and has never been an actual school, and there is not and has never been an actual person named Bishop Sycamore. They use post-grad players, which is one of the many reasons they are not certified by OSHA, which is not the, same OSHA that's like the, what's it called? The work.
This is
like the OSHA regulations.
Specifically about high school football, right?
Yeah, this is the Ohio State High School Athletic Association.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a different OSHA. They're not certified by OSHA or any other certifying body for high school sports. This says they and their pimp, GSB, lie online about their players, their facilities, and their fake D1 offers. Meanwhile, they barely have enough players to cover offense and defense, and they don't have enough uniforms, equipment, and helmets for all the players. It's a scam from top to bottom, pimped, pushed, and promoted by GSB, which is the Gridiron Sports. Yeah. So there's on another high school thread board. There's a 45-page thread. There's like even more accusations. It's not the first time they've played multiple games in a weekend. The head coach, that Roy Johnson, currently has an active arrest warrant out for him. I'm not sure what the arrest is for. I think it might be like assault or something, but I'm not sure on that. But yeah, so the head coach has an active arrest warrant. And that's in addition to all the lawsuits for the fraudulent loans and everything else.
The only thing that would have made this more wild is if like the coach was arrested during the ESPN broadcast.
Yeah,
it's seriously. Like we found him. He's on national TV.
Yeah. A large amount of the players are older than high school age, including players that played for JUCO, and I believe that's like just a postgraduate like football program.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's junior college. I'm sorry. So like they already have kids that have played for junior colleges that are in this program playing against actual high schoolers.
Right.
There's this accusation. They played a defender on Sunday that's originally a 2020 player from Florida. Kid has reported over 24 fake offers. Showed up to a tryout and used a fake ID. There's another one. My son was on the team. We initially thought it was going to be great. They have some great kids, but the guys running it aren't coaches, and all the negative stuff that you hear is true. Someone needs to shut it down before someone gets hurt. Most of the kids are already 19 or 20. Oh, yeah. So then they also have, like, some sort of team housing. And the kids that were in that got evicted from the team housing, and that somehow affected their personal credit.
Wow.
There's all kinds of shit.
Yeah, and so like, was this quote unquote school, was this program paid for their ESPN appearance? Do we know?
That I don't know.
Because like I'm just trying to figure out, because it's obviously a scam and they're obviously using these children in very dangerous conditions, and the point, what are they gaining, right? What are they gaining from this? Right.
Yeah. They're trying to get money and siphon it, because it's not going into this program.
Right.
It's like you take out $100,000 loan. It's like, well, where did that money go? Because it didn't go to the uniforms. It didn't go to equipment.
Mm-hmm.
They apparently have transportation problems. This here says that they keep getting kicked out of apartment housing or getting kicked out of hotels due to lack of payment. Yeah. And then at the end, it's like ESPN is trying to say that it's not their fault. The people that organized the game are saying that it's not their fault. It's a shit show.
Completely. I mean, I think if you're ESPN, you need to take responsibility here. Like, come on.
Right.
You're the largest sports broadcasting network in the world. Like, you are what people associate with sports.
Yeah, and you got kids in an unsafe situation.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if it was on like actual ESPN, or if this was like maybe ESPN2, or maybe like one of their internet, like ESPN3 streams or whatever?
This here says that the Geico Classic or whatever was supposed to be all across the ESPN networks, these 7 games.
Okay.
I believe this one was somehow on main ESPN, which is kind of why it blew up.
Incredible.
But I'm not 100% on that. But I think that was the case, which is why it got all this attention.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts.
Man.
And so then this happened. Like this happened a few weeks back, where this story sort of blew up. Then the next week, where college game day started on Saturday, another school. This is college now. This no-name university called North American University.
Hey, we're from there.
Yeah, anybody that's in Canada, United States, or Mexico, I guess qualifies for North American University.
That's my local school.
So they played a game against Lamar, which is a D3 school, and they put that game on ESPN as well. And
so this had to be like ESPN Plus, right? This had to be like one of the streams.
I'm looking at the screenshot. I can't tell. It just says ESPN College Football. It has to have been on like the ESPN College channel or some shit like
something
that.
like that, yeah.
But North American literally doesn't have a logo, so there is just a placeholder that just says logo.
Oh no.
On the ESPN. It says ESPN College Football presented by, ESPN or whatever, and then it says North American, and next to it has logo, and then it has Lamar, and they have their logo there properly. And then even in the ticker at the bottom, it still has the placeholder for logo.
Quick question.
That's scrolling by. Yeah.
If you had to place a bet, North American, the entire team, versus Lamar Jackson, but only Lamar Jackson, who are you betting on? Well, maybe we'll have some insight as we learn who this North American team is.
He's looking over in the flats. He's going to go deep down the field, wide open for the touchdown.
Okay,
wide open.
They kind of can't cover based on that clip I just saw. So he might have a shot, honestly.
I think so.
There are like 3 defenders back, and this receiver has a 20-yard cushion. This is like a 50-yard catch and throw. Like, yeah, I and that's against the D3 school,
right?
So like, they got sacked when they had a 1st and 23. I don't even know how that happens. Get a 1st and 23. Half the Wikipedia page of the organization that accredited North American University is dedicated to scandals, which is the Accrediting Commission of Career Schools and Colleges. North American University has several pages claiming that they are a member of NAIA, and I have to look that up again because I forgot what that is.
So this is
National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics.
Mm-hmm. So this game is coming, what, like maybe a week or so after the high school game?
Yes.
Okay.
So like people are now on the lookout for this shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're claiming that they're a member of NAIA. They are not, and according to other sources, are hoping to become an NAIA member in 2022. They are currently unsanctioned by any collegiate sports body. So this is like what we were saying. Like at least, the teams that get warm-up games, they usually play against just lower-ranked, like NCAA teams.
Yes.
This is not even a real school. They're not even accredited by anybody. They're not recognized by any athletic body whatsoever. And apparently the Lamar's athletic director was not able to obtain any information at all about them. So why did you play them exactly?
Yeah, you think that would tip you off. Man.
The NCAA less than a month ago released a list of blacklisted teams that do not count as actual competitions if you play them. Guess who was on that list? North American University.
Ugh. So what was the score of this game? Do we know?
This is like in a tweet thread, and in the middle of the thread, it's Lamar is up 44-0.
Okay.
And it would be a lot worse if the Cardinals weren't being extremely deliberate on every drive, eating up huge amounts of clock. Jesus.
Oh, so it's like they probably could have scored a bunch, but they decided to just like do like some 15, 20-yard gains and eat some time.
Yeah, they're just trying to run out the clock.
Wow.
Okay, this clip, there's 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's 47 to... Oh, they're about to kick a field goal. 47-3 now.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, my
On the
God.
board.
They're... North American is celebrating like they just fucking won in overtime. Jesus Christ, that is so sad. That is so sad. Oh, my God. So, yeah, I don't know what the final score was, but they were getting beat quite soundly by a Division III school. And the NCAA is like even saying like, hey, this game does not count because they're not a real school. So it's like a glorified scrimmage. Not even. I wouldn't even say glorified.
Yeah.
It's just a scrimmage
Mm-hmm.
that ESPN decided to broadcast. Just bizarre stuff.
You think ESPN has its hands in too many different like sports?
Seems like it.
It's trying to do too much.
Seems like it.
Doesn't have a handle on what it's showing.
It's like, I know college football is huge, and I know in a lot of places in the country, high school football is huge. Like around Pittsburgh, Ohio, it is enormous. Texas, it's huge.
And also, there are just people who will watch football no matter who it is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But like, come on, like, who? I already find diminishing returns on NFL games. I think they're less and less entertaining. Like, who is enjoying this shit?
mm-hmm.
Aside from the weirdness of the story.
Right.
Like, who's going to flip on Lamar versus North American University?
Only if it was Lamar Jackson.
Right.
It's the only situation where I'm tuning in.
Put that for the Pro Bowl game.
There we go.
God.
Spice things up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and so related, you put this story in here.
Yes, I saw this last weekend during the first week of college football. I saw an AP story. It caught my eye because apparently we had some history set.
Okay.
Presbyterian is an FCS school,
So they're
which
real.
I guess, yeah, they are real. They are accredited. They are certified. But FCS is like the level below FBS, like the top end teams.
Right.
But there are still a lot of like legitimately really good FCS schools. You know, some NFL players have come from FCS schools. It's Presbyterian. The AP's headline here is Presbyterian's Heffley, their quarterback, sets FCS record with 10 touchdowns.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Which you know, that led me to click on the story, see what was going on here. So Heffley, their quarterback, he threw 10 touchdown passes as Presbyterian beat St. Andrews by a score of 84-43.
Not a lot of defense.
Not a lot of defense going on there. Heffley, by the way, he was a former walk-on at Michigan.
Huh.
So he ended up landing here at Presbyterian. He went 38 for 50 for 538 yards and 10 touchdowns. And so, you know, you're thinking, all right, this is a bit of a mismatch. So how exactly did this happen? 10 touchdowns? Did they just run the score up? Like, what was going on here? Turns out
814 yards to 315.
Yeah. So turns out there's a bit of a story here with their head coach, Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly comes from an independent high school in Arkansas where he won 9 state titles in 18 years. So he's averaging a state title one every other year. So then he comes to Presbyterian, but he came with a reputation. He was known as the coach who never punted.
It's like the man with no name.
Yeah. So okay. he took that philosophy to Presbyterian. The team during this game tried 9 onside kicks.
Okay.
They won the toss immediately, like before the opening kickoff, and they did recover an onside kick on the opening kickoff.
Sure.
They also did not punt. They converted 4 out of 5 fourth down attempts. And like you said, they outgained their opponent 814 yards to 315. So yeah, I thought this was really noteworthy with this head coach's philosophy. I have not seen this outside of Madden NFL football.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's been training in Madden.
He's totally been training in Madden. So this story continues to say, his philosophy makes sense, giving his offense more opportunities to score. And there's a quote from Kelly saying, I'm just playing the numbers. So yeah, it's definitely not something I've seen before, and it led to a record. So it definitely paid off here. Now, I don't know how well this is going to hold up if Presbyterian goes on to face some more formidable opponents.
Right.
I can tell you that
somebody could stop a single drive
that can stop a fourth down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or recover an onside kick.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that for the sake of this show, I am going to be following Presbyterian football for the rest of the season. Yeah. I will let you know how their season goes.
You'd think since he's known as the coach that doesn't punt.
Yes.
You would be expecting it.
You got to draw up a game plan.
Yeah.
You have to draw up a game plan against this guy.
You got to always put out the hands team.
Yeah.
We
can verify information about Presbyterian.
Right.
There's footage. We know what they're about. So somebody stop this guy. Somebody stop this team.
This madman.
But he's got his team has bought into it. His students have bought into his approach, and 10 touchdowns. 84 points.
God.
Let me see. Let me look at their... I didn't look at their schedule. I'm going to see if I can pull up their schedule. See if there's anybody recognizable.
I would want their defense to sort of step it up, though. They did give up 43.
That is true. I don't know how many of those were like...
Although, if you're giving them a short field...
Exactly.
Yeah,
they might have been put in some tough situations.
That's true.
Oh, they're playing Morehead State in October, which I feel like I've heard of them before. They're playing To Be Determined on September 11th. Oh.
I just think that's...
it's probably a bye week.
Or is that, like...
North American University?
No, is that Thomas Blair Academy or something? It's not...
Yeah, so this game will be on ESPN Plus.
Okay.
Presbyterian Blue Hose is their name. Playing against To Be Determined on Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. on ESPN Plus. We might have another scenario here.
See, you got to subscribe to get the best content.
Well, that's the thing. I will actually be resubscribing because of the NHL soon.
Sure.
So I might even do it a little bit early to see some Presbyterian games.
Oh my God.
I'm legitimately interested. I do want to watch one of their games. Yeah, so they got Morehead State. They have Dayton, Valparaiso, another team down here without a logo, which could just be because they're like FBS or FCS and not very
sure.
But yeah, To Be Determined. That's interesting. I mean, by the time that this podcast airs, this game will have either happened or not happened.
They're playing Florida State.
Oh no.
Texas Tech.
Yeah. So yeah, I will keep everyone posted in case anything noteworthy happens with Presbyterian. But good for them, trying out something different. I feel like this is more interesting than the Wildcat, to be honest.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
But then what happens like the week that, it doesn't work out and he still keeps pushing and then he loses the players on it.
I feel like the players have to buy in no matter what. You're going to have your good weeks, you're going to have your down weeks, but you have to stick to the game plan.
Keep on punting.
What's good about this is that you can actually have an extra spot on your roster because you don't need a punter.
Right.
So you can have like a fourth string quarterback or something, like some extra depth at one of the positions if you need it.
Yeah.
Or you can maybe lend one of your players to Bishop Bishop Sycamore.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they're college level. So
He'll even bring a helmet.
yeah, they'll bring a helmet. It doesn't matter that the helmet says Presbyterian on it. Nobody cares.
Right. Oh God.
But anyway, to be continued potentially with Presbyterian.
Whew. Should we do just a couple quick hits and then get out of here?
Yeah, we should. We've had some of these up for a while.
Yeah.
You talking about my stuff?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll do the job market one because I thought this was something.
Okay.
But so we're in a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in one. This isn't news to anybody, but
somebody crawled out from a coma.
Yeah.
The first thing they did was turned on episode 22 of the Dead End Road show.
Yeah. Although there was that story like during last spring or summer even where there were like people on like this retreat where there was like no communication with like it was like no phones, no communication with the outside world. When they returned to just hell on earth.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about something like that. That happened like with people like around 9/11. I don't know why I bring up 9/11 like every show now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember hearing something like that.
But so I've been kind of paying attention to some reports about the economy, see what the job market's like. I'm currently looking for a job as well, so I'm checking out the landscape. And honestly, some of these reports can be misleading, right? Because like you can see a gain in jobs added, but like the quality of those jobs or the wages or whether they provide are terrible, right? So like it's kind of hard to get an accurate read on what people's experiences are looking for jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I am on TikTok.
Sure.
And I've seen some TikToks that provide insight into how people are doing. So I thought we would play a couple here. I have the first one. I'm going to link it in the Discord for you.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. So here's this one. This is from user J Lampy.
I'm on the verge of getting my real estate license. Is that what everyone does when their dreams are crushed? I feel like that's like the only way out. I don't want to do that. Can you even picture me selling houses? Hi, welcome in. Here's the kitchen. Here's the bathroom. Do you like it? Do you want to buy it? This is my entire job, is just doing that. And then the other stuff that's boring. I'm sorry, no offense to you guys, but that sounds so boring.
So, this resonated with me a bit. I'm wondering if you've ever considered real estate, because that seems to be like the thing that people really go to when they hate their existence.
No. I personally haven't. I had some family that did that. Before, and they moved out of it. No, it's not something I considered. Because it does sound miserable.
I mean, I've been thinking about it, honestly.
Yeah.
And because I mean, if you get into it and I guess if you do it right, it could pay well.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a good area to be in. Especially, I guess, as the housing market is so fucked.
Yeah.
But I worked in the school, and there were just a number of teachers were leaving to get their real estate license.
Jesus. Yeah. I keep hearing it's a seller's market.
Yeah. So
whatever that's supposed to mean.
Sure.
It's like people can't buy the houses, so then how is it a seller's market? I don't understand.
Well, the billionaires can buy the houses.
Oh, okay.
I guess that's who they're selling it to.
Are they selling it? Are they selling it to them so they could turn them into Airbnbs? that what's going on?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That tracks.
just something to keep in mind. That's always an
Sure,
option. So I had another one that I saw here that came on my For You page. This is from user Bossy2Saucy.
Okay.
Day 4 of COVID. I just found out that people at my job knew that they had COVID and were still coming in to work because they're pieces of big lobs of shit. And so I've decided to quit, and I put my resume on Indeed.com. And about 4 minutes later, I got a notification from Auntie Anne's Pretzel Shop.
Yeah.
Yay! I love it here.
So yeah, I feel like this one speaks to a misconception happening right now where like people can drive around and see all these hiring signs, especially in like retail and like service jobs.
Yeah.
And like, oh, look at all these jobs that are available. It must be so easy to find a job right now, right? But like we were saying a minute ago, none of the like a majority of these places are probably minimum wage. Maybe a little bit above it. Definitely not a living wage. And not only that, but like having to work. I mean, in non-COVID times in retail or service is
it's hell. Yeah.
It's hell. But like during COVID, when you're basically just putting your life at risk, and because of like mandates going away and stuff, you're putting your life in the hands of customers that don't give a shit.
Or your other fellow employees, apparently.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, because at the same time, like people get COVID, but it's like, well, I still need to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're choosing between
like nobody. Yeah.
You're choosing between your health and your ability to make a living. Which is not a situation people should be in, but they are because this country doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm so used to getting, like, you put your resume up somewhere and then you just get all kinds of weird emails and calls about companies that don't even sound like they exist, and then they just want you to be in quote unquote sales.
Yes, it's so bad that I don't do it anymore. Like Indeed will ask me if I want to make my resume public. I just say no, and then I just apply to jobs that I'm looking for.
Yep.
Because I've gotten nothing valuable out of that.
Yep.
All right, so I have one more, and this one is really the user's fault here.
Okay.
This is from user. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but Flocka Laden. Maybe? Okay, here we go. Last one. Oh no, it's unavailable. Oh, I should have checked beforehand.
Oh shit.
Oh no. Oh, okay, well this one was funny and it was about a guy saying how he got high on Indeed and he ended up getting calls about being like an X-ray technician, even though he has absolutely no experience or any idea what that is. And then he had a bunch of follow-up videos about how other things that he discovered while he was high on Indeed, and that would have been funny if we could have seen it, but I should have double checked before we started.
TikTok moves too quick.
I know, they really do. This one this one blew up with like over a million likes, which caused this guy to then just like make a bunch of them. Yeah. Which, none of the rest of them were as successful, but
I don't believe TikTok statistics.
What do you mean?
I don't think that they're real.
Like in the way that like Netflix's statistics aren't real?
In the way that when Facebook decided that they wanted everybody to start making videos for them, that they made up and inflated all the statistics of the videos. Well,
so you're not on TikTok, right?
No.
Yeah, see, I think you're the only person that's not on TikTok.
No,
I think I think maybe you don't realize how, just like the fact that everybody's on here.
The numbers don't make sense.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
I mean, 1 million, 2 million, like, you know, a million or two interactions with a video is not much when you consider how large the population is on TikTok.
Would that many people have to have seen it and decided to interact with it? It's not just views. That's likes.
Well, yeah, but that's what happens
I
when
think-
something trends. It gathers
But there's-
momentum, and then it ends up on the pages of more and more people, and that's you know, it's just going
But
viral.
there's so much like just everyday shit that doesn't is not like interesting. And I'm not even just saying not interesting to me, just like where nothing happens or nobody's really saying anything, and it's like, oh yeah, that has 50 million likes.
Oh, I don't
It's
know
like,
about 50 million. That's pretty rare.
I've seen weird shit,
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of
and
tough.
the numbers
to,
don't make any sense.
It's kind of tough, I think, to gauge TikTok as a whole because the algorithm does get so specific the more you use it. Like for me, most of the stuff that I get on my page and like the people I follow are people that are getting maybe anywhere from like a few hundred to a few thousand, maybe in like the tens of thousands of likes on a video at most. And then you'll get like the super viral stuff too. But there's like a wide range. I mean, I feel like it's, I don't know. I think this just comes from you not being on there. Like, what are they doing? Are they just like inflating things?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's TikTok doing that?
Yeah.
So this isn't like a bot situation?
No. I think it's TikTok.
Okay.
It's the same reason Facebook did it. It's to get more users to buy into their ecosystem. Because when Facebook did it, all of a sudden, all the publishers, all the digital media was like, okay, well now we have to pivot to video, because we're getting all this traction on Facebook video.
Yeah, it's funny you bring
But
this
it was
up.
all fake.
It's funny, yeah. It's funny you bring this up because this week there was a statistic that came out, and I don't have the story, but so I can't like source it. But it said that TikTok now has surpassed YouTube on like time spent watching videos.
Right, which doesn't make sense.
How though? How does that not make sense?
Because TikTok is built to be short form.
Is it though? Because people that are on there spend, like I spend, if I'm going on TikTok, I'm not just watching 10-second video. I'm watching like 45 minutes or an hour at a time.
Okay.
Which is like probably as much as I would spend on YouTube.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, I'm like being combative, but I wouldn't be surprised if you're right about that.
Yeah.
Like if they're just like inflating the very, very top like influencers or whatever. But then again, like everybody's on this freaking app, dude. Like it's, you know,
I don't think it's as widespread as you think it is.
TikTok?
Like in the sense that everyone's on it.
No, I do think that it's like the most popular social media platform right now.
I don't think that it's as popular as Facebook was at its height.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to argue one way or the other when we don't have like the actual numbers, right?
Yeah. Because you can't, it's similar to Instagram where it's like it only works in the app, you know, like the TikTok web based is like awful. It's sort of unusable unless you're using it in the app.
It is bad. It's not as bad as Instagram. It is bad though.
Yeah. So like there's that. So like just on its own, it can't be as pervasive as Facebook was at its height.
Yeah, but like everybody uses apps though.
Of course, but like it's still, there's still segmented. I bet you people would use TikTok even more if they had it accessible everywhere. Like here will be the test, and I don't know if they'll, well, because this isn't public anyway, but when Windows 11 gets Android apps, the main thing that they were showcasing was, look, you can use TikTok here.
Yeah, I think you are now you're losing me here because you
Okay.
because you're talking about Windows Android apps as like the metric for TikTok's popularity. Like, come on.
No. But here's my point: is that like there are plenty of people that are not using TikTok, but yet like think about how I quote unquote use TikTok, which means I get it filtered through other apps,
Sure,
or other pathways, and then it's like, if I try to use it, like if I see a TikTok on my Twitter feed or whatever, and I go to click on it to see it on TikTok's page, then like I'm gonna have like this shitty user experience over there, like on that page. So it's like, oh well, screw this, and I close it.
maybe you're just underestimating how often people are on their phones.
I don't think I am.
I just went on the Play Store and TikTok has a billion plus downloads.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's unpopular.
Right. You're just saying it's not as popular as it should be given the numbers that you're seeing.
Yeah. Like, because like Facebook, it is a worldwide thing, and I keep mentioning Facebook because Facebook was, and I don't know if it still is, the most popular social media platform by way of user base and installs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's waned, and I guarantee you in usability time, Facebook is probably way down, but.
And we're talking different demographics at this point too.
Of course, but like at Facebook's height, like it was worldwide where everybody had Facebook. Like,
yes.
Actually everybody.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok obviously skews younger. And I don't see that changing either. Until of course this user group ages, and if TikTok sticks around, right?
Oh no, I do see that changing already. I think the people that were on TikTok in their teens are now in their 20s, early 20s.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. But I just don't see the like same level of popularity. It doesn't seem as pervasive to me. Like that the fact that it has more watch hours than YouTube like makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Because you don't use it, and you don't know like the just like how easy it is to spend a ridiculous amount of time in like one sitting on the app.
The same thing can be said for YouTube, and the fact is that everybody uses YouTube.
Right.
Whether they are on for hours at a time, or whether they are looking something up quickly, to like a tutorial or whatever. Like, my dad has turned into a YouTube fiend.
Yeah.
Okay, but yet he's watching drastically different stuff than I ever would. He's watching dudes just up to their elbows in radios.
Yeah, but there's a TikTok community for literally everything.
Yeah, okay. But like, it's not this, like, YouTube has skewed. They changed. YouTube used to be about like shorter form stuff, and now that has changed to their algorithm where it rewards longer content.
Right. Well, I don't know if you saw, but TikTok is testing out a 5-minute video.
Oh boy.
Yeah, currently the longest you can do is 3. But there are, as far as like what I see, there are not very many of those.
Yeah, because like even the clips that I will get, like if it's longer than a minute, I'm not sticking around for that fucking TikTok. You got to be shitting me if I'm going to do that.
Well, I mean, if you're engaged by it, right?
No, if I'll look at the runtime. It doesn't matter what.
Oh,
it
you will.
is.
You'll look at the. I guess that it's different for me because when I'm in the app, it doesn't show you the actual time. It just shows you the bar that goes across. So maybe that's like some like sort of subconscious thing
that's got to be part of the trick.
It's part of the trick. Yeah. In fact, on some of them, I'm not sure exactly what the times are that it won't show you the bar even. I guess some of the shorter ones, it won't show you the bar at all. So you don't know when it's ending.
Yeah, that's got to be part of it.
Yeah, oh totally. Yeah, they are they've found a way to manipulate users to stay on for as long as possible.
Yeah. But like YouTube is built like you can't really monetize anything unless it's at least 10 minutes, and then the algorithm has skewed to heavily support longer content than that. That's why you see lots of video essays and things like that now. So like half hour, 45 minutes. People go fucking ridiculous. People go way too long.
Is TikTok
like,
monetization even a thing?
I think for the very top it is. Yeah.
Okay, because like it's interesting because like I follow a couple of different like creators on there that like document. They live in vans and they they live on the road basically, like nomad land almost. Right, and so like their TikTok is like them documenting like their daily life and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have like 500,000 followers.
Right.
But they're also working seasonal jobs.
Yeah,
so I just don't really know how much it's feasible to make money on TikTok. I've never really looked into that.
I believe at the very top they have monetization. I don't know if it's ad based or if they have
like sponsorships
like
and
system.
stuff.
Well, definitely the top they have sponsorships. I know that much.
Yeah.
Because they're influencers, they get deals for that kind of shit constantly. But that like the very top is like the stupid teens that do the little dances or whatever,
Yeah.
So I don't know what it would be like for like I don't know, maybe mid range, like the way YouTube works, where like you get the ad revenue, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know if you know this, but like, and I'm like talking about the most obvious stuff if you've used TikTok, so sorry about that. But like, I don't know if you've actually experienced this where you're scrolling through videos on there, right? And there are ads placed in between every now and then, like every like 5 videos or whatever. But the ads are made and framed to be like actual TikToks themselves.
Of course, yeah.
So it's actually for a split second, it can trick you until you look down and you see the sponsored logo on the bottom.
Yeah.
You might think for a second you're watching an actual TikTok, but you're watching an ad.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, you have to tailor your ads for whatever the platform is. Otherwise, it's just super easy to ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same shit. Like if you've used the dating apps, they'll put it in almost as if it's a profile. Like, it doesn't look exactly like a profile, but like it's the same shape.
Ooh, I feel like that's even weirder.
It's not that it like looks like a profile where like it doesn't like say like, oh yeah, this is Bud Light aged 50, it doesn't like say that, but it's like the way that it's shaped. So like it'll just pop up while you're swiping.
Yeah. So for a second you're not sure, so you don't immediately like scroll past it, right?
Right. And usually like the way it works on OkCupid is that you can't just swipe that away because it'd be too easy. It's almost like a regular like video ad or whatever, where you have to like go find the X to get that shit off,
I think people would riot on TikTok if you couldn't just immediately bypass the ads.
Yeah, well, just wait until there's like pre-rolls on longer videos like YouTube.
Ooh, well, that's when I just immediately bail.
Or you pay for TikTok Red or whatever the fuck,
Yeah, that's no.
It'll come, because with that kind of install base.
Yeah.
they'll
You can see
bleed
like
it dry.
the same trajectory that YouTube had, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. And then you also see like stuff like YouTube, like, well, everybody has like the stupid stories, you know,
Right.
from Instagram. But now YouTube has the shorts, which are just usually just stolen TikToks.
And they're also like paying high profile YouTubers to like use that feature.
Yeah. I think right now you can't even use it though until you've got a certain number of subscribers, which is because I guess it's in beta or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then you just see accounts that are just like, oh yeah, these are just ripped TikToks or really old Vines. Like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I mean, my instinct is to hate the idea of a 5-minute TikTok, but when I think about like how many educational or like, you know, like trivia TikToks or like, I don't know, like science-based TikTok, like there's all sorts of like informational stuff on there that could benefit from like longer form videos.
There's the whole genre that I've seen of the annoying teen theater kid who is explaining something basic to you as if they're an expert on it, and it makes my skin crawl, and I hate it so much. And they do the stupid thing where they'll point around to all the text that disappears way too quickly for you to actually like read it, and I fucking hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah, no, I mean there are good ones though too. Like there are ones that I actually learned stuff on.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that eels, we don't know how eels reproduce
At all?
at all, and
They just show up?
Yeah, the only thing that we know is that when eels become old, they travel down to the Bermuda Triangle, and then
All of them?
well, when they reach like a certain age,
All of them.
Okay, I don't know if it's all of them, but like I guess if apparently it's been observed that old eels go to the Bermuda Triangle, and then in their place young eels return. And like science doesn't know what the fuck is going on there.
Okay.
And they don't have any reproductive organs that we know of.
I might need to fact check that.
Okay. Yeah, feel free. That's actually a good idea, actually.
That seems like some... I'm sorry. But the idea of all eels, as if it's like some Logan's Run, whenever they reach a certain age, they have to travel. Like,
well, let's Google. Let me just Google while we're here. How do eels reproduce? Autofill. There we go.
Because there have to be eels that are pretty goddamn...
This is just from TED.com. This is the very first thing I saw. Despite knowledge of their round-trip migration, which I'm assuming they're talking about the Bermuda Triangle there, scientists still haven't observed mating in the wild or found a single eel egg. Leading theories suggest that eels reproduce in a flurry of external fertilization, in which clouds of sperm fertilize free-floating eggs. So it's like happening out in the air, I guess. That's like their best guess.
Fish, yeah.
But
the Bermuda Triangle thing.
Well, so that one had I kind of run into the problem where, or the mistake of like seeing a TikTok that has like over 1 million likes, and then just like treating it as facts.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is not good. I wouldn't recommend. I would definitely like look into before you go on a podcast, right? Before you decide to go on a podcast and start throwing out information, I would definitely suggest fact checking.
Like maybe it's true, but it just seems like I know there are migratory species, right?
Yeah.
But the idea of eels traveling from wherever they are all the way to the Bermuda Triangle.
Let me see what comes up when I do eels Bermuda Triangle. Oh, and okay, so one of the results here is eels Bermuda Triangle TikTok.
God in heaven. Am I gonna have to go to my buddy Snopes? My good friend Snope.
All right, so this didn't really give me that much here. So, all right, so, there could be some misinformation out there about the eels.
So apparently people believe eels don't have reproductive organs.
Well, that might be true, right? Because they might not actually have the organs. It's just like they emit some sort of like fertilization.
Older eels go out to salt water from the fresh water.
Oh, that's the other thing, right? Like, so they're apparently the only, or one of the only, like, sea species that does that can switch from one to the other.
Yeah.
So that's noteworthy when it comes to the eels. Can I bring up this duck story since we're talking about animals?
Sure.
This one that I had in the notes. So I'll link it too. Well, did I link it in the show notes?
I believe you did.
On the bottom there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a story that came out just the other day. It's about the Australian musk duck, which has been known to like mimic sounds that it hears, right? Like sort of like a parrot. But the difference being that we've never recorded one of these ducks imitating human speech before. Until this week, the first documented instance of this species mimicking human speech, and you know what it said?
What did it say?
It said, "You bloody fool."
That is Where was this duck located?
Australia.
Okay.
So there is audio if you go down on that CNN article.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Do you see it there? Okay.
That was it?
No, there's more.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This is during intercourse, by the way.
No, I'm sorry.
Well, you don't hear it?
I hear it, but only after you tell me beforehand.
Oh, you know what we should have done? Damn it. We should have played the video and then had you guess what it was saying. That would have been better.
No, it's just bird noises to me. Like it's just kind of No, I'm sorry.
Well,
I think they're attributing this.
I don't know. Can we play one more time?
Sure.
Just wait for the next one here. See how he just like... See how... I'm saying he, but this duck, which sounds like a male human voice, which is why I'm saying he, it sort of like lingers on the fool, right? Like it goes fool.
That's the one that's the one that sounds least like it to me, because that's...
Are you
going who would be an animal noise. That's like that's a bird noise. I'm sorry. I don't think so. I think they're just kind of like, hey, did that kind of sound like? Oh yeah, what might he have been saying? Like, no, that's bird noises. But like the birds that can mimic sound are freaky, and it feels wrong, and it doesn't make sense to me.
There's some very famous parrots on TikTok that, you know.
Yeah, but they're just like mockingbirds and stuff that'll just be like, if they're by a construction site, then all of a sudden they can just like mimic the construction noises like perfectly, and it's freaky as shit. It is so weird.
By the way, this duck is male, and it's named Ripper.
Okay.
And it is also able to imitate the sound of a door opening and closing.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the birds that like mimics like specific sounds that they hear are freaky.
Yeah, pretty weird.
Yeah. But I on this I don't think that was just bird noises to me. Like if I hadn't read it and you hadn't told me that that's what they think that it's saying, I just would have thought that was a bird making noises.
Yeah, gonna have to disagree there. I thought that was pretty distinct.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna keep an eye on the musk duck scientific journal.
Sure, yeah.
And see if any other breakthroughs happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The last word could either be fool or food.
Well, you bloody food doesn't make any sense.
It's in the ear of the beholder, so to speak.
I just think it's funny that this thing is mating, and while it's mating, it's saying, you bloody fool, you bloody fool.
Yeah.
Like, that's just good comedy. We're over 2 hours again.
We are. I might cut the tarot. That was a bad one. It's been in the back of my head the entire show. It's been like a ghost, like a specter, back there. See, that's what I get for trying to like force an opening. You know.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Oh shit! Yeah, we should wrap this up. All right. So thank you very much for listening. You can follow me everywhere at DeadEndRoad, Facebook.com/DeadEndRoadTV, Twitch.tv/DeadEndRoadTV, and do a YouTube search for DeadEndRoadTV, and get us to 100 subscribers if you would please. That would help us out tremendously.
Unfortunately, we can't inflate our YouTube numbers.
No, we can't. I would have to make way too many accounts. And if you'd like to send us anything, including some feedback about Dating is Dead segment, you can send that to video@DeadEndRoad, or you can
let us know. Are you on TikTok?
Are you on TikTok? Do the numbers seem
the old
fake?
people want to know.
Yes. Do the numbers seem fake? I think the numbers are fake. And quick apologies for getting last week's episode out late, because this week has been rough shit. But yeah, and then next week we'll be discussing. I already forgot the name.
Malignant.
Right, the new James Wan movie. So yeah, if you want to check that out for our discussion, please go ahead and do so. That should be everything. Yeah. All right. We will see you in the next one. Thank you.
See you next week.